1. Christy Lin Carroll, Tennessee, 2018. An emotional, factual narrative, 1,200 words, can be expanded further upon request. Christy Lin Carroll's story is woven into the quiet hills of Hohenwald, Tennessee, a place where the trees stand tall and the air is thick with the scent of honeysuckle in the summer. Christy was a mother, a daughter, a friend. She was the kind of woman who remembered birthdays, who sent handwritten notes just because, and who could make a room lighter with her laughter. Her family remembers her as a gentle soul, someone who found joy in the simple things, the way her son's hair curled at the nape of his neck, the taste of sweet tea on a hot day, the hush of the woods at dusk. In the spring of 2018, Christy's life seemed to be settling into a new rhythm. She was working hard, making plans for her future, and looking forward to the little milestones that marked the passage of time: her son's next baseball game, her mother's birthday, the annual county fair. She was the kind of person who always called to say goodnight, who checked in on friends who needed a listening ear, who believed that kindness, above all, mattered. But in May of that year, something changed. Christy was last seen at her home, her car parked in the driveway, her phone resting on the kitchen table. The morning sun filtered through the curtains as it always did, casting soft patterns on the floor. But Christy was gone. Her family noticed first. Calls went unanswered. Messages were left, then deleted and re-recorded, each one a little more urgent than the last. Her mother drove by the house, knocking on the door, calling out Christy's name into the stillness. Inside, everything was as it should be except for the absence that hung in the air, heavy and unspoken. The days that followed were a blur of worry and waiting. Friends and neighbors gathered, forming search parties that fanned out across the fields and forests. They walked the riverbanks, combed through the woods, and checked every place Christy might have gone to clear her head or find a moment of peace. Flyers were posted on telephone poles and in shop windows, bearing Christy's gentle smile and the words, "Have you seen me?" The local sheriff's office worked tirelessly, following every lead, interviewing everyone who had seen or spoken to Christy in the days before she vanished. Her family was steadfast, holding on to hope with a fierceness that surprised even them. They shared stories about Christy: her love of gardening, her habit of singing along to the radio, the way she always made time for the people she loved. Each story was a thread, weaving her presence into the fabric of their lives, even as they searched for answers. As the weeks turned into months, the search slowed but never stopped. Christy's son, too young to understand the complexities of loss, would sometimes ask when his mother was coming home. Her mother kept Christy's room just as she had left it, the bed neatly made, her favorite book resting on the nightstand. On the refrigerator, Christy's photo remained a daily reminder of the laughter and light she brought into their lives. The community rallied around the family, organizing vigils and fundraisers, lighting candles in the hope that Christy would find her way back. Each year, on the anniversary of her disappearance, friends and family gather at the local park, sharing memories and renewing their commitment to finding the truth. They wear ribbons in Christy's favorite color, release balloons into the sky, and speak her name with love and longing. Despite the passage of time, Christy's family refuses to give up. They believe that somewhere, someone knows what happened in those quiet moments when Christy slipped from their grasp. They hold on to hope, not just for themselves, but for Christy, for the woman who gave so much and asked for so little in return. Her story is one of resilience and love, of a family's unwavering search for answers, and of a community that refuses to let her memory fade. Christy's absence is a wound that has never fully healed, but her spirit endures in the hearts of those who love her. Each day, they wake with the hope that today will be the day they find the answers they seek, that today will be the day Christy comes home. 2. Eric Conrad Hayter, North Dakota, 2012. The prairie winds of Bismarck, North Dakota, carry stories for miles: stories of families, of hope, of hard work, and sometimes, of longing. Eric Conrad Hayter's story is one that echoes through those open fields, lingering in the hearts of those who knew and loved him. He was a son, a brother, a friend. He was the kind of man who showed up early to work, who lent a hand to a neighbor in need, who could be counted on for a smile or a joke even on the toughest days. Eric's life was rooted in the everyday. He worked in construction, building not just structures but a future for himself and his family. He was proud of his work, proud of the sweat on his brow at the end of a long day, and proud of the dreams he was slowly making real. He talked about buying a house, about one day starting a family of his own. He was the kind of person who believed in tomorrow. On May 24, 2012, Eric went to work as usual at a job site on the edge of town. The morning was bright, the air filled with the promise of summer. He greeted his co-workers, put on his hard hat, and set about the day's tasks. But as the hours passed, something felt off. Eric didn't return home that evening. His phone went unanswered. His truck remained parked at the site, keys still in the ignition. It was as if he had simply vanished into the wide North Dakota sky. His family's worry grew with each passing hour. Calls to friends and co-workers yielded no answers. The police were notified, and soon the job site was alive with searchers' colleagues, law enforcement, and volunteers combing through piles of dirt and equipment, calling Eric's name into the wind. Flyers bearing his photo were posted in shop windows, on telephone poles, and at truck stops along the highway. The community held its breath, hoping for news. Days turned into weeks. The search expanded, reaching into fields and forests, along riverbanks and down country roads. Eric's mother kept vigil at the window, watching the horizon, hoping to see her son's familiar silhouette walking up the drive. His friends gathered in the evenings, sharing stories of Eric's kindness, his laughter, his dreams. They remembered the way he would show up with coffee for the crew on cold mornings, the way he always had a kind word for everyone. Months passed. Seasons changed. The job site where Eric was last seen slowly returned to its routine, but for his family, nothing was the same. His mother kept his room just as he'd left it, his boots by the door, his favorite baseball cap hanging on the hook. On his birthday, she baked his favorite cake, placing a single candle in the center and whispering a wish into the quiet. Nearly 2 years later, in April 2014, construction at the same site uncovered remains that were later confirmed to be Eric's. The discovery brought a measure of closure, but also a new wave of questions. How could a man so loved, so rooted in his community, simply disappear? What happened in those final moments? The answers, like the prairie winds, seemed just out of reach. Eric's family continues to honor his memory. They gather each year at the site, laying flowers and sharing memories. His mother keeps a candle burning in the window, a beacon of hope and love. Friends and neighbors still speak his name, still tell stories of his kindness and his dreams. In the heart of North Dakota, Eric's spirit endures, a reminder that even in the face of uncertainty, love remains, and hope never truly fades. His story is one of quiet strength, of a family's unyielding search for answers, and of a community that refuses to forget. Eric Conrad Hayter's absence is a question that lingers, but his memory is a light that continues to shine, guiding those who loved him through the darkness and into the dawn. 3. Phyllis Rome, Mississippi, 1993. In the heart of Clarksdale, Mississippi, where the blues seep from the earth and the river's song never quite fades, Phyllis Rome's story is whispered among neighbors and family, carried on the humid breeze. Phyllis was a woman who moved quietly through life, her presence gentle but unmistakable. She was hearing impaired, but her laughter was full and her spirit resilient. She loved her family, her community, and the small comforts that made each day meaningful. Phyllis communicated with her hands and her eyes. She was known for her kindness, her patience, and the way she always remembered to bring a little something for her nieces and nephews when she visited. She was careful, cautious, and rarely ventured far from the familiar streets of her neighborhood. Her family cherished her, always mindful of her unique needs and the way she navigated a world that sometimes seemed too loud, too fast. On a warm evening in July 1993, Phyllis left home for what was supposed to be a short walk to a friend's house. She wore her favorite summer dress, her hair neatly braided, her purse slung over her shoulder. She promised her mother she wouldn't be long. The sun dipped below the horizon as she set out, the air thick with the scent of magnolia and the promise of rain. But Phyllis never arrived at her friend's house. When she didn't return home that night, her family's concern quickly turned to fear. They retraced her steps, calling her name, stopping at every house, every corner store, every place she might have visited. The community rallied, neighbors joining the search, their flashlights cutting through the darkness as they scoured alleyways and vacant lots. Days passed with no sign of Phyllis. Her mother sat by the window, watching for her daughter's familiar silhouette. Her siblings posted flyers across town, each one bearing Phyllis's gentle smile and a plea for information. The police followed every lead, interviewing friends, acquaintances, and anyone who might have seen her that night. Still, the trail grew cold. Phyllis's absence left a void in her family's life. Her mother kept her room just as she'd left it, the bed neatly made, her favorite scarf draped across the chair. Her nieces and nephews asked about her often, their questions lingering in the air like the notes of a distant song. Each holiday, her family set a place for her at the table, refusing to let her memory fade. Years slipped by, but hope remained. Her family never stopped searching, never stopped believing that Phyllis might one day return. They held vigils, lit candles, and prayed for answers. Her mother kept every letter, every card, every small token that reminded her of her daughter's love. To this day, the story of Phyllis Rome is told in Clarksdale as a lesson in hope and resilience. Her family continues to honor her memory, sharing stories of her kindness and strength. They believe that somewhere, someone knows what happened on that warm July night. Until the day they find the truth, they hold fast to the love that binds them, and to the hope that Phyllis's gentle spirit still walks among them, guiding them through the darkness toward the light. For Rebecca Suhill, Florida, 1984. In the quiet woods near Altoona, Florida, the wind rustles through the pines and carries with it the echoes of stories left unfinished. For nearly 4 decades, one such story belonged to a woman known only as Judy Doe. Her identity was a mystery, a life reduced to a few clues, a faded photograph of her face reconstructed by forensic artists, and the hope that someone, somewhere, might recognize her smile. Rebecca Suhill was a daughter, a friend, and a dreamer. She grew up in the warmth of a loving family, her childhood marked by laughter, the scent of orange blossoms, and endless summer days. She loved to write letters, to draw, and to walk barefoot in the grass after a rainstorm. As she grew older, Rebecca's life, like so many, became complicated. She drifted from place to place, searching for something she could not quite name, a sense of belonging, perhaps, or a fresh start. In 1984, Rebecca's journey brought her to Florida. She was last seen in the company of new acquaintances, her future uncertain but her spirit undimmed. Then, one day, she vanished. Her family waited for news, their hope flickering but never extinguished. They called friends, checked shelters, and posted letters to every address they thought she might have reached. But the days passed, and no word came. Months later, in the woods near Altoona, a discovery was made. The authorities found the remains of a woman, her identity unknown. She was given the name Judy Doe, and for years, her story was told in whispers and questions. Who was she? Where had she come from? Who waited for her return? Rebecca's family never stopped searching. Her mother kept a box of letters and photographs, each one a memory of happier times. Every birthday, she baked Rebecca's favorite cake, lighting a candle and making a wish for her daughter's safe return. Her siblings grew up, started families of their own, but always left a place for Rebecca at the table. Decades passed. Advances in forensic science brought new hope. Investigators preserved Judy Doe's DNA, and as technology improved, they revisited the case again and again. In 2023, a breakthrough came. Through the dedication of genetic genealogists and the persistence of law enforcement, Judy Doe was finally identified as Rebecca Suhill. The news brought both relief and sorrow to Rebecca's family. At last, they could put a name on the grave, could visit with flowers and whispered prayers. But the questions remained. What happened to Rebecca in those final days? Who was with her, and what became of her dreams? Rebecca's family honors her memory with quiet rituals. They tend her grave, plant wildflowers, and share stories of the girl who loved to dance in the rain. Her mother still writes letters, tucking them into the folds of her Bible, believing that somehow, Rebecca will hear her words. "You are not forgotten," she writes. "You are loved, always." Rebecca Suhill's story is one of loss and longing, but also of hope. It is a reminder that every life matters, that every person leaves a mark on the world, and that love endures even in the face of uncertainty. Her name, once lost, is now spoken with tenderness and pride, a light rekindled in the hearts of those who will never stop remembering. 5. Shelley Joy Droche, Ontario, Canada, 2016. London, Ontario, is a city of changing seasons and shifting fortunes, a place where the river glimmers in the summer sun and the snow falls softly on quiet streets in winter. For the family of Shelley Joy Droche, the city is also a landscape of memory and longing. Shelley's story is woven into its parks and avenues, into the faces of her children and the hearts of those who love her. Shelley was a mother of 3, a daughter, a sister, and a friend. She was quick to laugh, her voice bright and warm, and she had a way of making people feel at ease. Those who knew her remember her as fiercely loyal, someone who would give her last dollar to help a friend, someone who believed in second chances. Life was not always easy for Shelley. She faced struggles that sometimes seemed insurmountable, but she never lost her sense of humor or her hope for a better tomorrow. In January 2016, Shelley's presence in the city seemed as constant as the river itself. She was seen around London, chatting with friends, waving to acquaintances, always on the move. She kept in touch with her family as best she could, sending messages, making quick phone calls, promising to visit soon. Her children were her anchor, her reason to keep going, and she spoke of them often, her eyes shining with pride and love. Then, one day, Shelley stopped calling. The messages ceased. Her friends and family grew worried, reaching out to each other, retracing her steps, asking questions that no one could answer. Her mother called her phone again and again, listening to the voicemail greeting that never changed. Her children waited by the window, hoping to see her familiar figure coming up the walk. The police were notified, and the search began. Flyers with Shelley's photo, her bright eyes and gentle smile were posted on telephone poles, in shop windows, and at community centers across the city. Volunteers joined the search, combing through parks and alleyways, checking shelters and hospitals, calling her name into the wind. Each day brought new hope, and each night, new worry. Months passed, and then years. The city changed, but for Shelley's family, time seemed to stand still. Her mother kept her room just as she'd left it, her favorite sweater folded neatly on the bed, her childhood photos arranged on the dresser. On Shelley's birthday, her family gathered to share stories, to light candles, to remember the laughter and love she brought into their lives. The search for Shelley became a cause that united the community. Candlelight vigils were held in her honor, with friends and strangers alike standing together in the fading light, holding hands and whispering prayers. Each year, her family organized a memorial walk, retracing the routes Shelley once took, leaving flowers and notes of hope along the way. Despite the passage of time, Shelley's family refuses to give up. They believe that someone, somewhere, knows what happened to her. They hold on to hope, not just for answers, but for the possibility of reunion, for the chance to tell Shelley how much she is loved and missed. Her children, now growing up, carry her memory with them. They speak of her kindness, her courage, her ability to find light in the darkest of days. They dream of the day they will see her again, of the moment they can wrap their arms around her and tell her that she was never forgotten. Shelley Joy DeRoche's story is one of resilience and love, of a family's unwavering search for truth, and of a community that refuses to let her memory fade. Her absence is a question that lingers in every corner of London, but her spirit endures, a beacon of hope, a reminder that every life matters, and that love, above all, remains. 6. Braden Tibo, New Brunswick, Canada, 2017. The forests of New Brunswick are vast and deep, their green canopies stretching for miles, their shadows hiding secrets as old as the land itself. For the family of Braden Tibo, these woods are a place of both beauty and heartbreak, a landscape that holds memories of laughter and hope, but also of longing and unanswered questions. Braden was 17 when he vanished, a young man on the cusp of adulthood, his future unwritten. He was the kind of son who made his mother smile with his quick wit and gentle teasing, who helped his younger siblings with their homework, who could make friends with a simple grin. He loved the outdoors, fishing in the cool rivers, hiking the trails that wound through the trees, sitting by the fire on chilly nights and sharing stories with friends. In May 2017, Braden set out for what was supposed to be an ordinary day. He left home with a wave and a promise to be back in time for dinner. The hours passed, and the sun dipped behind the trees, painting the sky in shades of gold and lavender. But Braden did not return. At first, his family thought he was running late, caught up in the easy distractions of youth. But as night fell and Braden's bed remained empty, worry crept in. His mother called his phone, her voice growing more anxious with each unanswered ring. His friends were contacted, but none had seen him since that afternoon. The police were notified, and soon, the search began. Volunteers from the community joined law enforcement, fanning out across the woods and fields, calling Braden's name into the quiet. Flyers with his photo, a handsome young man with bright eyes and a shy smile, were posted in shops, schools, and gas stations. His family walked the trails he loved, their hearts pounding with hope and fear, their eyes scanning the undergrowth for any sign of him. Days turned into weeks, and the search widened. Drones flew over the forests, dogs tracked scents along the riverbanks, and divers searched the deep, cold waters. Each new lead was followed with determination, each rumor investigated, each sighting chased down. But Braden remained missing, his absence a wound that would not heal. His mother kept his room just as he had left it, his favorite baseball cap hanging on the hook, his fishing rod propped in the corner. On his birthday, she lit a candle in the window, a beacon of hope that her son would find his way home. His siblings left notes on his pillow, messages of love and longing, promises to keep his memory alive. The community rallied around the family, organizing vigils and fundraisers, sharing stories of Braden's kindness and generosity. Each year, on the anniversary of his disappearance, friends and neighbors gather at the edge of the woods, releasing balloons into the sky and whispering prayers into the wind. For Braden's family, hope is both a comfort and a burden. They hold on to the belief that he may still return, that somewhere out there, their son is waiting to come home. They dream of the day when they will hear his laughter again, when they will see his familiar smile and feel his arms around them. Braden Tibo's story is one of love and longing, of a family's unwavering search for answers, and of a community that refuses to let him be forgotten. His absence is a question that echoes through the forests of New Brunswick, but his spirit endures, a light in the darkness, a reminder that hope, even in the face of uncertainty, can be a powerful force. 7. Carrie Singer, Virginia, 2004. In the gentle hills of Isle of Wight County, Virginia, the fields stretch wide beneath a sky that seems to hold every season's memory. For the Singer family, these fields are more than a landscape, they are a canvas of hope, sorrow, and unanswered questions. Carrie Singer's story is woven into this place, her absence felt in every sunrise and every hush of dusk. Carrie was a young woman with a spirit that drew people in. She was known for her kindness, her creativity, and her ability to find beauty in the smallest things: a wildflower by the roadside, a song on the radio, a handwritten note from a friend. She loved animals, adored her family, and dreamed of a future filled with possibility. Her laughter could fill a room, and her empathy made her a confidant to many. In July 2004, Carrie's life took a turn that no one expected. She was last seen in Hampton, Virginia, leaving her apartment in the company of someone she trusted. She promised her family she would keep in touch, that she would be back soon. But as the days passed and her phone remained silent, her family's concern grew into a quiet, aching fear. When Carrie did not return, her loved ones sprang into action. They called friends, retraced her steps, and reached out to anyone who might have seen her. Flyers bearing her photograph, a bright-eyed young woman with a gentle smile, appeared across the region. The community joined the search, their hope a thread that bound them together. A few days later, Carrie was found in a rural field in Isle of Wight County. The news rippled through her family and friends, bringing both heartbreak and a desperate need for answers. The investigation began in earnest, with law enforcement following every lead, collecting evidence, and seeking the truth. Advances in forensic science brought new hope over the years, with DNA testing and renewed public interest, but the questions remained. Carrie's family grieved, but they also remembered. They spoke of her love for animals, her habit of leaving encouraging notes for others, the way she could brighten even the darkest day. Her mother kept a scrapbook of Carrie's life photos, letters, and ticket stubs from concerts they attended together. On Carrie's birthday, her family gathered to share memories, light candles, and release lanterns into the night sky. The community, too, has not forgotten. Each year, friends and neighbors joined the Singer family in a walk of remembrance, tracing the paths Carrie once loved. They plant wildflowers along the roadside, a living tribute to her gentle spirit. The case has been featured in documentaries and news stories, bringing renewed attention and calls for justice. For Carrie's family, hope is a quiet companion. They believe that somewhere, someone knows what happened in those final hours. They hold on to the possibility that one day, the truth will come to light, and that Carrie's story will find its ending. Until then, they honor her memory with love, resilience, and the unwavering belief that every life leaves a mark on the world. Carrie Singer's story is one of longing and remembrance, of a family's search for answers, and of a community united by compassion. Her absence is a question that lingers in the fields of Virginia, but her spirit endures, a gentle presence, a reminder that love persists even in the face of uncertainty. 8. Christopher Rivers, Ontario, Canada, 2017. In the rolling countryside near Murphy Road, Ontario, the land is dotted with wildflowers and framed by endless sky. It's a place where the wind carries the scent of pine and the distant laughter of children playing in the fields. For the Rivers family, this landscape is both home and heartache, a place where memories live alongside longing, and hope is as persistent as the changing seasons. Christopher Rivers was a man who loved the simple things, the satisfaction of a day's work, the comfort of a family meal, the peace found in a quiet walk at dusk. He was a son, a brother, a friend. Those who knew him remember his easy smile and the way he always seemed to know when someone needed a kind word or a helping hand. He was the sort of person who would stop to help a stranger change a tire, who would listen without judgment, who believed in the goodness of people. In the spring of 2017, Christopher's days followed a familiar rhythm. He kept in close touch with his family, checking in regularly, sharing stories and laughter. He had plans for the future, small dreams, perhaps, but ones that mattered deeply to him. He spoke of fixing up his old truck, of taking his niece fishing, of planting a new row of sunflowers along the fence line. Then, one ordinary afternoon, Christopher set out near Murphy Road and did not return. At first, his family thought he'd been delayed, caught up in the easy distractions of rural life. But as the hours passed and the sun dipped below the horizon, worry crept in. Calls to his phone went unanswered. His friends hadn't seen him. The familiar landmarks of his routine, his favorite coffee shop, the gas station where he always stopped for a chat, offered no clues. The search began with hope and urgency. Family, friends, and neighbors scoured the fields and forests, calling Christopher's name into the quiet. Flyers with his photo, a man with kind eyes and a gentle smile, were posted in every shop window, pinned to bulletin boards, handed out at community gatherings. The police joined the effort, tracing his last known movements, interviewing anyone who might have seen him that day. Days turned into weeks, and the search widened. Volunteers walked the back roads and riverbanks, searching for any sign of Christopher. His family kept vigil at home, the porch light burning through the night, a symbol of their unwavering hope. Each morning, his mother would step outside, scanning the horizon, whispering a prayer for her son's safe return. The seasons changed, but the Rivers family's hope did not. On Christopher's birthday, they gathered at the edge of the field where he loved to walk, releasing wildflowers into the breeze and sharing stories of his kindness and humor. His father kept his old truck in working order, starting it up every so often, just in case Christopher might come home and want to take it for a drive. The community rallied around the family, organizing vigils and fundraisers, sharing Christopher's story far and wide. Each year, on the anniversary of his disappearance, friends and neighbors gather near Murphy Road, leaving bouquets of wildflowers and notes of encouragement at the spot where he was last seen. They speak his name with love and longing, their voices a chorus of hope that carries across the fields. For Christopher's family, hope is both a comfort and a challenge. They believe that somewhere, someone knows what happened on that spring afternoon. They hold on to the possibility that answers will come, that the story of Christopher's life will find its resolution. Until then, they honor his memory with love, resilience, and the quiet rituals that keep his spirit close. Christopher Rivers' story is one of love and longing, of a family's unwavering search for answers, and of a community that refuses to let him be forgotten. His absence is a question that echoes through the countryside, but his spirit endures, a gentle presence in the breeze, a reminder that hope, even in the face of uncertainty, can light the way home. 9. Pamela Halipan, Ontario, Canada, 2003. In the small city of Timmins, Ontario, the winters are long and the nights are deep, but the warmth of family and tradition fills every home. For the Halipan family, this warmth has been tinged with longing and sorrow since the day Pamela Halipan disappeared. Her story is one of love, resilience, and the quiet ache of unanswered questions. Pamela was a young mother, a daughter, a sister, and a friend. She was known for her radiant smile, her infectious laughter, and her deep love for her children. She cherished family gatherings, where stories were shared and laughter echoed late into the night. She was proud of her Indigenous heritage and often spoke about the importance of community and connection. In December 2003, Pamela was navigating the challenges of young adulthood. She was working hard to provide for her children, to build a future filled with promise. She stayed in close contact with her family, calling her mother often, sharing news of her children's milestones, and making plans for the holidays. Her presence was a source of comfort and joy, her absence unimaginable. On a cold December night, after a disagreement at home, Pamela left and was never seen again. At first, her family thought she needed time to cool off, to gather her thoughts. But as the hours passed and Pamela did not return, worry settled in. Her mother called friends and relatives, retraced Pamela's steps, and reached out to the police when it became clear she was missing. The search for Pamela began in earnest. Flyers with her photo, a young woman with warm eyes and a gentle smile, were posted throughout Timmins and neighboring communities. Family and friends scoured the city, checking shelters and hospitals, calling her name into the winter air. The police followed every lead, interviewing those who had seen Pamela that night, piecing together her last known movements. Days turned into weeks, and the search widened. Volunteers joined the effort, braving the snow and cold, hoping for any sign of Pamela. Her family kept her memory alive with vigils and gatherings, lighting candles and sharing stories of her kindness and strength. Her children, too young to understand the complexities of loss, asked for their mother, their questions lingering in the quiet of the house. As the years passed, Pamela's family refused to give up hope. Each holiday season, they set a place for her at the table, a silent tribute to the love that endures even in absence. Her mother kept Pamela's favorite blanket folded at the end of her bed, her childhood photos arranged on the dresser. On Pamela's birthday, the family gathered to celebrate her life, to share memories, and to renew their commitment to finding answers. The community rallied around the Halipan family, organizing walks and awareness campaigns, ensuring that Pamela's story was never forgotten. Her case became a symbol of the many Indigenous women who have gone missing across Canada, a reminder of the work that remains to be done. Each year, on the anniversary of her disappearance, friends and neighbors gather to honor Pamela's memory, to speak her name, and to reaffirm their hope for justice. For Pamela's family, hope is a quiet companion. They believe that somewhere, someone knows what happened on that cold December night. They hold on to the possibility that answers will come, that their search will one day bring closure. Until then, they honor Pamela with love and resilience, keeping her spirit alive in every story, every gathering, every act of remembrance. Pamela Halipan's story is one of love and longing, of a family's unwavering search for truth, and of a community united by compassion. Her absence is a question that lingers in the heart of Timmins, but her spirit endures, a gentle presence in the laughter of her children, a reminder that hope, even in the face of uncertainty, can light the way home. 10. St. Louis Jane Doe, Missouri, 1983. In the heart of St. Louis, where city streets give way to quiet neighborhoods and the Mississippi River winds its patient course, there stands a small, unmarked grave, a place where hope and sorrow meet. The story of St. Louis Jane Doe, sometimes called the Little Jane Doe, is a story that has haunted a city for decades and touched the hearts of all who have heard it. She was discovered in February 1983, in an abandoned building on Clemens Avenue. She was a child, estimated to be between 8 and 11 years old, with soft brown skin, delicate features, and carefully braided hair. She wore a yellow sweater and a small gold necklace. No one knew her name. No one came forward to claim her. The city mourned for a child whose story seemed to begin and end in mystery. From the very beginning, the St. Louis community was moved to action. Police officers, detectives, and volunteers worked tirelessly, following every lead and reaching out to every corner of the country. Artists created sketches in hopes that someone would recognize her face. Her image appeared in newspapers, on television, and in the hearts of those who saw her gentle eyes and wondered about the life she had lived. The city's medical examiner, Dr. Mary Case, became one of Jane Doe's fiercest advocates. She kept a photograph of the girl on her desk, a daily reminder of the promise to never give up on her. Dr. Case and her colleagues worked with forensic experts to reconstruct Jane Doe's face, to trace the origins of her clothing, to follow every possible clue. Over the years, advances in DNA technology brought new hope, and Jane Doe's case was entered into national databases, her profile shared with investigators across the country. The community, too, refused to forget. Local churches held vigils, lighting candles and saying prayers for the little girl with no name. Schoolchildren wrote letters and drew pictures, leaving them at the site where she was found. Each year, on the anniversary of her discovery, neighbors gathered to remember her, to speak her name into the silence, even though they did not know what it was. Jane Doe's story became a symbol of the city's compassion and determination. She was not just a case to be solved, but a child to be loved and honored. In 2014, after years of advocacy, she was finally laid to rest in Calvary Cemetery. The community gathered for a memorial service, placing flowers and stuffed animals on her grave, vowing to continue the search for her identity. The inscription on her headstone reads simply, "Loving Child. Known only to God." For the detectives who have worked her case, Jane Doe is never far from their thoughts. Many have retired, but they still check in on the investigation, still hope for the day when a match will be found, when a family will be reunited with their lost child. New generations of investigators have taken up the cause, bringing fresh eyes and renewed determination. Jane Doe's story has reached far beyond St. Louis. Her case has been featured in documentaries, podcasts, and national news stories. Each time her image is shared, there is hope that someone, somewhere, will recognize her, will remember a missing niece, a neighbor, a friend. Each new advance in forensic science brings the possibility of answers, and with it, the hope that Jane Doe's true name will finally be spoken. For the people of St. Louis, Jane Doe is a reminder of the importance of community, of the power of hope, and of the enduring strength of love. Her grave is never without flowers, her story never without listeners. She is remembered not for the way she was lost, but for the way she has brought people together, inspiring acts of kindness and compassion. The story of St. Louis Jane Doe is not just a mystery to be solved, but a call to remember those who are missing, to cherish every child, and to never give up hope. Her absence is a question that lingers in the heart of the city, but her spirit endures, a gentle presence in every act of remembrance, a light that continues to shine, guiding the way toward truth and belonging.